Hi, welcome to FVTV. I'm here with Paul Byrne. Paul, how are you?
Not too bad. How are you, Darren?
Here, not too bad. No, just trying to get through this COVID-19 like everyone else. Look, I suppose what we normally do is we ask footballers who come on to give advice. And I've seen there now you're kind of giving a couple of bits of advice on Facebook, and you're out for a run, and obviously your experience of football. So that's kind of what we're going to go through. Like what I ask every footballer is where their football journey began. So if you can take us
Yeah.
through it, like where did it start off? How did you love football? Where did you end up? Where did you go?
Well, basically, it all started on the streets for me. Street football, basically teaching yourself, a game of poles, game of gates with some friends and that. They were the days when you had no bibs, you didn't know who you were passing to. You had to get your head up and find out who your friend was and pass it. It was all educational stuff, hitting the ball outside of the right boot, off the pack, off the wall. You couldn't shoot from long range because you had to get close to hit the pole. And I suppose I took it all from that into my schoolboy days, and obviously became a little bit, as they say, special before you go across the water. You're one of these people that are picked to go across the water. And basically, I was, that's where I was self-taught on the streets, basically. But unfortunately, we don't have that on the street anymore.
No,
And then I signed for Blue Bell.
I would have been the same. Definitely, it was all street football. We were playing in parks and stuff like that, playing at home, playing out in the grass after school. Throw the bag down, football, get out, and
Yeah.
probably it's different. Definitely, no, all right, like.
No, you didn't go home. You didn't go home. The last was the fella that went home, took his ball home with him, and that was the only break that you got. And then he came back out and you start playing again. But we sort of played on the road where the ground was going to be very hard, and you weren't going to fall on the ground as quick because you're going to hurt yourself, and you had to stay on your feet. And you watch the modern game today, and they're jumping all over the place and falling on the lovely soft grass that they play on. But no, it's the street. The street was very educational for me, and I took it into my schoolboy days at the likes of Blue Bell, where I played against the likes of Rockmount down in Cork and Roy Keane and Bryne and Lenny, Brian O'Sullivan and Alan O'Sullivan and Len Downey and Roy Keane and all those boys that we had to play against at schoolboy level. But we could only play against them once you get to a certain stage of a cup and stuff, and it was great to travel. And, I remember the days meeting Roy Keane's dad, Mossy, and having good sessions before the game and after the games. And I think that's all gone out of the game now. I think, too many people take schoolboy football too seriously. Especially the coaches. They're watching, the match of the days, and they're watching the Premiership, and they get this little, kickstart one and kickstart two, and off the FAI, and they go, and you think they're world beating coaches. But the game is fairly simple if you keep it simple, and unfortunately in today's society with the young kids, that if the parents trying to tell them how to play the game, you've school teacher telling them how to play the game, and you've got his football coach of his football team telling them to play the game, and kids get a little bit confused, and sometimes they get a little bit frustrated and don't fulfill their full potential.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely changing. All right, as you said, football coaches, and there's probably expectations, but that comes from a society thing as well. Like, you have to win to be successful. And I suppose going back to when we started playing football, it was kind of, it was a working man's kind of game. It was like it was working class. Clubs were set up especially for that. Fellas work 9 to 5 shift work or whatever, or not shift work, like, but 9 to 5 shifts, and then Saturday a game of ball, and they expected people to go out. Like, players weren't getting over massive wages and stuff like that. And so, look, there's a bit of adaptation to it anyway. But yeah, as you said, like there needs to be a bit more like structure set out to it anyway. Definitely. So school
Yeah,
boys, like
100%.
you did you enjoy your schoolboy football?
Listen, I think every schoolboy should enjoy the level of schoolboy football he's going to play at, because when you get to a certain level, you're told how to play the game, basically. You're told to play 4-4-2. You're told to play there and do this and get up and down the pitch, and you're told exactly what to do, boy. So you become sort of a little bit robotic, instead of being a free spirit. Like Robbie Keane made his name in the game in Ireland because he came into an established Ireland team with the Whelans and people like that, and he came in fearless from the streets, because that's where he did learn his trade before he went to Wolves and stuff. Damien Duff was the same. They went in there and you're free spirits. They went and played the game how they wanted to play the game. They were quick, they passed, they moved, they done certain things that the older guys sort of were a little bit taken back from, but they gelled together and done really well for Ireland. But going back to my schoolboy days, would have been that club called Bluebell on the nice road there beside the Red Cow. We're still very strong Leinster senior team now.
No,
I only
well,
had a couple of yeah. I only had a couple of years at Bluebell at schoolboy level, and I signed for Oxford. You can't do it nowadays, but I signed for Oxford when I was 13, and I moved to England just on my 14th birthday. And I became an apprentice over there till I was 16 and broke into the first team at 17.
how did
I
that come
spent 6
about,
months.
Paul? How did you end up signing
Well,
for Oxford? Was there a
it,
scout over here or what? Or who's the manager?
well, it's funny how it works out because the scout that found me was on a Honda 50, a fella called Forrest. So that's me and I met Roy a few months ago there, and we had a good chat about it and a good laugh. And Noel
Sorry, you
McCabe
cut
was
you cut out you cut out there, Paul. I fell on a Honda 50, and then it cut out. What was that? What was the rest of it?
the fella on the Honda 50 was a fella called Noel McCabe.
Oh yeah,
He used to
yeah,
go
yeah,
around,
yeah.
yeah, and he's the one that found Roy Keane. So me and Roy were laughing at it, like, the two of us were picked up on a Honda 50. We both played for the Ireland. We both played for the Ireland under 15, 16, 17s, 18, youth, 21s together. And then I broke into I was brought into the squads with Jack Charlton and stuff. And, we good stories about Len Downey, forgetting. Len was for Lenny Downey. He's from Corky. He got into the 21 squad quite a lot. And then he was picked in the team. And I think we were away in Malta. And he left his jersey back in the hotel. And he couldn't play. And we just little
Jesus.
reminiscing of little things that we went through over the years. And it was great. But I started my schoolboy days at a club called Bluebell and signed for Oxford at 13. I broke into the first team over there at 16. Played there till I was 19. And then I had a falling out with a manager called Bryne Orton, Nobby Orton. He was manager of Man City. He went on to manage Man City, and he was at Hull and a couple of other teams like that. But he wouldn't be the first manager I fell out with anyway. But so I broke into the first team and I had a fight with him, and I left there and I came home for a couple of weeks actually, and then I signed for Arsenal under George Graham, and we Rocky Rocastle was there at the time, and Davis and Paul Mason, Ray Parlett, David Hilliard. We had a great side, and I played a lot of reserve games. I didn't break into the first team, and then I decided then I could have went to Northampton after that with Theo Foley, and I didn't. I decided to come home, and I signed for a team up in Bangor in the north of Ireland, and you're putting on that little bit of weight, and you come home. Sorts of things started to develop and you're back in your home soil because it's what we know, it's our culture. And but I ended up playing for Bangor up in the north of Ireland, and I won the Players Player of the Year, senior and junior, and I won the Writers junior and senior, and then Georgie Best gave me my trophy. Trophies at the scored the winning goal in the Bassers Cup final to get Bangor into Europe in the Cup final for the first time in history. And then to top it all off, I signed a 3-year contract at Glasgow Celtic.
Yeah, like I suppose that would have been a kind of Dublin boy's dream, I suppose, growing up with it, to play for Celtic.
I think it's an All-Ireland thing. I think every player in the country would love to put a jersey on and go to Parkhead and do the sort of job that I was doing for Celtic. Me being an underdog, didn't pay a lot of money, but I always felt I had the ability to fit in at some stage if I got myself fit. And I got myself fit and I broke into the first team and scored a couple of goals, against St. Johnstone, Hearts, and then obviously the famous ones with the 2 goals against Rangers. And I think once you scored against Rangers and you signed for Glasgow Celtic Football Club, I think you're remembered all over the world for the rest of your life. And
you get a point in most places all over the world anyway for it.
I'm on the second. Yeah, a few points, and people wonder why I'm putting on weight, getting all that free drink all around the world. But it's good to be remembered, and I'm only back from Philadelphia with the Celtic Legends, and I'm literally just back from Thailand with the Celtic Legends. I'm back on the circuit with the lads now, and we play games, we do Q&As, and we've got New York coming up, South Africa, Australia, and the club are very, very supportive, and I kept good friends with the likes of Pierre Van Hooijdonk, Bobby Petta, Simon Donnelly, Jackie Mack, John Hartson, Alan Thompson. All good friends of mine, and I mean, we're doing gigs. We all chip in together and look after each other.
Yeah, that's brilliant. It's brilliant to see that. Even the local Irish legends here, meeting up with people and playing when you're out the game, so important, isn't it? Like, especially, you're not going to be able to play at the pace that you were able to play, but still you're playing a decent game of ball, and that's I think we all miss that at some stage,
Yeah, you miss what you do is you miss the changing room, don't you? You miss the banter, you miss the buzz where we all come back to revert, and no matter whether you're 26, 27, 37, whatever it is, once you go back into that changing room, you're a big kid again, and you're laughing and joking and slagging, and it's just that part of the game that you'd really miss. But fortunate enough, I missed it for 5 or 6 years, and I was at a gig for John Hartson about a year and a half ago, and to be fair, John took me back under his wing. He said, "Look, Burns, you've done a few things, whatever, but all the lads love you to bits, and we'd like you to come on board and open up now. I can help a lot of various charities. I'm doing a game up here in Dublin. It was meant to be on the 19th of April, but with this virus that's going on, it's cancelled. It's for the homeless. I'm looking to bring one to Cork with the lads. I'm looking to bring one to Galway. Greg O'Hanlon is looking to bring a team down from Celtic down to Cork for the homeless, and Peter Carpenter is looking to do one in Galway. So, it's a great opportunity for me to bring players like this to Ireland, to people who love Celtic and love watching these players when they're doing the 8 and
Yeah.
people to see these people, but also an opportunity to raise money for what's badly needed in this country.
No, definitely, 100%. And just going back to Celtic, your days at Celtic, I suppose, like where did it go? Like when you first walked in the door, I suppose, from the training regime, was there a difference to your other clubs you had been at?
Yeah, I went from Oxford to time Steve Foster was there and Davy Langham was there, Billy Hamilton, Sean Reck. You would have had the team that I come through. John Dreyer. It was like
Were you with John Dreyer, were you?
before John Dreyer, Tumble Dreyer. Yeah, I played with
Yeah,
Tumble
yeah,
at
yeah.
Oxford. Yeah,
John was my assistant at Stevenage. Really,
yeah,
really nice guy.
yeah. I played with Tumble Dreyer. Yeah, at Oxford, and when I was younger and stuff like that. But even on the way to the match, they're taking orders off you for fish and chips, pie and chips. The first local chippy on the corner beside the ground, and they're taking orders for that on the way back. And never heard of in today's game. It never would be. And basically that was the climate that we were in, the times that we were in, and you finish your game and a couple of points, fish and chips, and headed home. And then times changed. I went to Glasgow Celtic Football Club. One of the biggest clubs in the world. Won a lot of trophies. Magnificent club. Liam Brady was the manager. He played in Italy. He took the professionalism from Italy to Parkhead, and the dress, even down to the dress sense, down to the training on the training ground, and
And just a
sometimes
little
twice
bit
a
about
day.
that training. Like what was the training? Like I know we're saying like take it from Italy. What did he take from Italy? Like what are some examples?
Well, basically, this the style of warm up and stuff like that. You weren't doing 12 and 15 and 20-minute runs around the park before you even done a stretch and stuff like that. And he brought in a lot of small-sided games where 2v2, 3v3s and small games, switching teams around and moving the ball quickly and sharp and that type of stuff, and keep ball sessions, and went to play through the thirds, went to keep it at the back, went to push it into midfield, went for the centre half to step into midfield to make it overload the midfield, and push one on then to make it three up front and press. And there was loads of different things that I'd never experienced in my life till I come across the likes of this. And I think that's what made me the better player, because it was something that really caught my eye and interested me. The likes of Oxford and stuff like that was just, you get down the training ground, you're going to run around the pitch, you're doing your stretch, you gave out bibs, you probably had a practice match, you probably had a seven-a-side, shoot on site, small-sided games, stuff like that. But it really went a lot more technical in how we were going to play, and especially there was a lot of work done against the opposition and what your job was. And 9 times out of 10, I was marking Bryne Loudrup in Old Firm Derby. So what Liam said to me went out the window because I could never catch fucking him.
And then after Celtic,
But
what happened?
yeah, that's. Yeah, well, look, I went after Celtic. What happened was I went on loan actually to Brighton with Liam Brady. Liam went to Brighton, and I went on loan to Brighton. I scored something like 3 goals in 8 matches or something like that. Scored on my debut, and it was really good. And then Tommy Burns called me back to Celtic, and the week that he called me back to Celtic, it was the New Year's Day game. against Rangers, and that was the one I scored the volley at the back post. So yeah, I was sort of riding high, you know, at the time. But I always say this when I'm on tour with the lads in the Q&A. I never felt I was Celtic class. Not in a million years did I ever feel that I was going to break into Celtic's first team and achieve what I did achieve. Well, I achieved. I played for one of the best clubs in the world. I was beaten in the League Cup final. I won a Scottish Cup medal with them. That really set the platform. I was there through the real bad times when Celtic were stopping Rangers doing 9 in a row, and it was dreadful times to be part of, to be honest. And I came through that, and then, you know, runners up in the League Cup, and then Tommy Byrne's actually to win the Scottish Cup that year. We were moving back to Parkhead the year after, and you know, from poor times to good times, and Tommy knew he needed to strengthen the squad, and I felt at that particular time, 2.5 years at the club, I felt, look, I didn't feel I was good enough in the first place. I certainly don't feel good enough now with, you know, the likes of Pierre Van Hooydonk, Jordi Cadetti, Paulo Di Canio, and all these boys coming through the door. So I held my hand up and I bowed down and I said, I've done enough. I've done the best I could for this club. I'd like to say thank you to everybody. And I signed for Southend, which another Irish manager came in, which was Ronnie Whelan.
Oh yeah.
I've done really well down in the fourth season. Third season the second season we didn't have such a good season. Third season I broke my ankle, and I felt I didn't really recover to the player that I was coming from Celtic. I was always deteriorating, you know, from the time I left Celtic to being on a high at Southend to 2 years later breaking my ankle and not being the player that I was. And I felt I'd been away since I was 13. I was approaching 28 or 29 at the time. I felt, you know, it's time to come home and play League of Ireland, which League of Ireland was at a very, very high standard at that particular time.
Yeah.
Fenn and all those boys playing, the Paul Doolan, and, you know, Roddy Collins come calling, and basically I signed for Roddy and we won the double that year. So yeah, it was good. League of Ireland was competitive. I played it a couple of seasons after that. Went down the leagues, Kilkenny and stuff like that, because it's not that I wanted to drop down the leagues. It's just that still the love of the game was still in my heart and in my head. And basically, I wanted to play for as long as I could, and I ended up coming back down and playing for Bluebell.
How did you find that?
Where it all started.
How did you find, stepping out of professional football into like Leinster Senior League? It's probably a decent standard as well, actually, when you were leaving
Look,
League
you
of
know,
Ireland,
it was like, yeah, I was putting on a bit of weight at League of Ireland and stuff like that, and I felt you could still play a top Leinster Senior for a couple of seasons, and that's what I did. And after that, I really thought, you know, I'm gonna, you know, a decent job coming at the time, and I thought if I get injured here, I'm really gonna F myself up, and I come out unscathed with really bad injuries, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I still had my health. I could still run. I could still do certain things. And I felt enough was enough, and that was it. I went off to America and I coached in America for a couple of years, and I've done my rounds, a few bits and pieces here and there, but not a lot of people would let you do the coaching that you wanted to do because they were all into this. The FEI had people over a barrel, you know, if you let other people, outsiders come in and do their thing, and we'll cut your funding and stupid little things like this. So other people didn't get that opportunity to show kids how I learned the game and basically bring street football to grassroots.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough thing to do anyway as a coach, now, because there's so much structure around it, and as well, I think there's I didn't even train as a kid really. You're probably the same. You might have a training session every now and again, but it's all matches. You know, I can't wait for the match now at the weekend, or I can't wait for this match, and there's so much going on now with kids. There's
or they'd organise a friendly during the week. You play the friendly during the week, and you'd have a game on the weekend. So, or you know, especially the evens like this, you had two matches. You'd have an evening match, and then you'd have a match on the Saturday.
Yeah.
And times like that were great. The smell of what I missed the most, and I said this at a couple of things, and the lads really said, Jesus, Bungie, we never really thought of that, is the smell of the grass.
Yeah.
You know, when you walk out on that pitch, that's the grass, the sunny evenings, you know, playing League of Ireland games, you know, the stands full, you know, 5,000 at Daily Mount. You come out, the smell of the grass, the zip of the ball over the wet surface, and little things like that, you know, you think about over, you know, when you do finish. And, you know,
as you're saying it there now, I can get the feeling as well. You're looking at, stepping out onto the pitch, and it's a different that as you said, like the sun shining, that like that kind of a half bright, half darkness, and you're coming out to play a game. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. The so when you're
The smell of the grass, European nights and stuff. And
yeah, like I suppose, look, you've had vast experience. As a player, you're looking back now. Would you have any regrets, or would you do anything different? Because like I think about it all the time, but do you ever think about it?
look, yeah, well, if I think about it too much, I'll end up in a liffey. Basically, what I could have done more financially. Basically what I could have
Look,
done more
we're
financially.
every footballer's been in that position. Like like there's all
Yeah.
we have done. You wouldn't otherwise. You'd be living in a mansion, or it doesn't work out that way, unfortunately, sometimes. But like my thing
No.
is regrets, as in playing wise. I shouldn't have gone to this club, or I should have trained harder here, or I should have done more extra.
Well, I think at Celtic, I bowed out too quickly. I felt that, Simon Donnelly wasn't a better player than me. He went on to win 4 league titles and 3 Scottish Cups and League Cups, because he stuck at it, and he trained hard, and I just felt that if I had done maybe that myself, and maybe I jumped out of my contract. I had 2 years left of my contract at Celtic. I jumped out too quickly. But I feel if I have to look back now, I wouldn't be the person I am today. I'm mentally strong. I'm very mentally strong. I think a lot of people would say that about me. But I just love doing what I'm doing now. I've got good friends around me. And then the lads at Celtic Football Club do for me now as well. And it's just great. I'm never going to give something back to the homeless in Dublin, the homeless in Cork, the homeless in Galway, and that'll be all coming through me. And I've felt that small little thing that I should have gave maybe a few years ago, I can give now.
Yeah, no, that's excellent. And just even you're putting up a video there the other day, seeing that you're out running and stuff. So how are you finding that running? It's I think it's brilliant for you.
I just look at, come here. It's 5K. It's 30 minutes of your day to get off the couch, to be strong, to open up your lungs. That if you do get this virus that's going around, that you're strong enough to fight it off you. And not only that, it's getting you out of the house. It's keeping you mentally strong. It's keeping you active. And hopefully that when all this dies down, that you will keep that activity going. And a healthy body, healthy mind, or healthy mind, healthy body, whatever you want to look at it. And I think that's a very it's a need, it's a must that we must have, because if you're weak and you pick these things up, this virus is killing so many people at the moment. But if you're not mentally strong, God knows where the mind will take you in these times.
And just on the mental strength, so we talk about that a lot. Like I think it's a huge part of football, mental strength in players. I don't know about you, but like when you're growing up and you're playing Bluebell and you're playing all these teams, I imagine there was a serious talent pool of players. But obviously you went on and you played the professional game. Like, do you think you were mentally strong then, and that helped you through to get there? Because you know yourself, like you're fighting for a place constantly. There's every day training, you have to be your best in a squad of 20 to 30 players. You have to perform day in, day out. You have to try and get to that 11 then at the weekend. If you don't get in the 11, it's disappointing at times. It's hard to take. So you got to try and mentally fight that as well.
Well, I think you got to mentally balance it. You got to find that balance, that you don't put yourself under too much pressure, that you're gonna balls thing up. Sometimes put pressure on yourself, you won't win. But you got to find that balance. Do your extra run every day. Do that extra weight session. Don't eat that extra meal, or nowadays you've got so many different things to help you. When I didn't have them, I went to bookies, I played snooker, I played golf, horse racing at 15, 16 years of age. I was eating fish and chips. Nowadays, these kids have the opportunity to go and fulfill their dream of becoming a professional footballer, financially securing themselves, whether they buy their own house or they buy 10 houses or 15, whatever they need to do. And if you get on that ladder to a professional football club, they've got the facilities now and all these, physios, psychological people, all this sort of stuff, mental strength, mental fitness, they have all of that. We didn't have that. If we had that, it could have been a different ball game. We could have been a different player. Could have had 60 caps or 100 caps for Ireland. We didn't have it. Don't look back. Look forward. If I was a young lad now today, I'd be saying to myself, this is what I want, because look what we can achieve. Look what we can get.
Brilliant. What about coaching then? I suppose, yeah, so you finished and you're going into coaching. Like, just actually about coaches yourself, coaches and managers that you were playing under, like
Yeah.
good ones, bad ones. What made them good? What made them bad?
But basically, just because you're a professional footballer doesn't mean you're a good coach. And Stephen Kenny has proven that. The New Ireland manager, who I played with Blue as a schoolboy, and he came to Oxford with me on trial too. So, Stephen's proven, you don't have to be a good footballer to become a good coach. And anybody out there that thinks that because they didn't play the game they can't become a good coach, well then it's ridiculous. They got to get that out of their heads. And it's like everything else. How hard you work as a footballer, you got to work as a coach. And what I did as a coach, picking things up along the way, I picked things up off Liam Brady. I wouldn't do things that Roddy Collins done, that Liam Brady done. I'll try and get the pieces of the jigsaw and put them all in together myself to make up a picture for myself on how the game should be played, how to treat players, and when to put your arm around them, when to get them a kick in the arse, when to, coaching is repetition. Don't move on from A to B if A is not perfected. Little things like that. Short and sharp games. All of those different things. That was part of my game. Touch, pass, move, free kicks, penalty kicks, striking the ball, how I strike the ball, how I bend the ball, all that sort of stuff. I walked on in the training ground. It didn't just fall on my lap. So young kids nowadays, if they think they're working hard, work harder. Go that extra step. And if you got any way, got ability, you have a good chance. Really good chance.
And you're coaching in America. Was it a senior team or was it kids or?
Yeah, I was looking after the semi-pro team in a town in California called Temecula, and then I was doing a lot of coaching for local teams in the area. I was doing four sessions a night actually, in California with different teams, all in sort of a 4 or 5 mile radius, so you didn't really have to travel that. And I was doing that 5 nights a week and trying to coach them. They want you to coach them the European way. So the European, what is the European way? Well, the European way for me was street football. And I coached them how to kick the ball with the outside of the right foot, left foot, how to control, how to pass, how to move, how to play in the future. But playing in the future is knowing what you're going to do before the ball is going to come to you. It's like when a fella is running down the wing and it's the time and the judgment of a pass where it goes in front of him and he's running onto it, or it goes behind him. Little things like that, small little things in the game that you need to know. And it's like years ago, when you're crossing the road, it's all about space and time, football in my eyes. It's like years ago when you stood beside your dad or your ma at the side of the road. He grabbed you by the hand. Why? Because you can't judge space and time between the distance from that car coming, from that car going to hit you. So he held your hand. So he held your hand until you learned the distance of time and space between the car and you. It's the same with a football. So, little things like that. And if you find space, what does space give you? Space gives you time. So good players will find space. Give good players time on the ball, they're going to become very good players, going to become excellent players. So little things like that have always stuck in my mind, and I sort of passed down to the young kids and some coaches in America too.
I like that. I like that, to be fair. And do you like coaching?
Yeah.
And are you doing?
Yeah.
Are you doing much coaching now?
No, I'm involved now with the Celtic situation, and I think we're going to be doing a couple of things out in South Carolina. Maybe when all this dies down, might be the next year now. But we're going to do soccer camps and stuff like that. And there's another thing that's very close to me: soccer camps. The FEI have got to look at things like that. Hopefully, with Niall Quinn now, they're going to change all of this, because for you to get, say, it's 5 hours a day on a on a camp that's going to cost €100. Babysitting camps, I call them over here, really, because the kids are not really learning anything. So how long would it take a normal club coach to coach his team, sort of, say, 30 hours? He's training Tuesday, Thursday, so 30 hours is what? Many weeks is that? 6, 7,
Yeah,
8, 10
what have you
weeks?
got? Banjo? Yeah, about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why do we waste our time on having fun and games on camps when you've got those kids there for 5 hours a day when we can really educate them for that week? The small little things like that I would really feel passionate about. But as I said, it's out of my hands, it's out of my control. But that's the thing I would like to see. But who's listening to Paul Buncher?
Never know, get yourself out there. And have you done any coaching badges or anything?
Yeah, I've got my A badge. I'm up to my A license. I never took the pro badge because I always felt that I'd never get a job in League of Ireland.
I've done my A as well. There, I'm up to my A, and I don't think you should go into pro license unless you're doing it full time. And I'd be of the same opinion. How did you find the badges?
I done mine up in the north of Ireland with a fella called Nigel Best, who was my manager at Bangor. He's the main man within the FA up there, and basically, it's just it's things that you've done. You played the game. They're putting topics on about games that you've participated in for 200 games, so you know exactly what you need to do, how to set up. But it's how you go on and what you want. I never use FAI to stuff out my badges coaching kids from the FAI. Never do, because there's certain things on the courses you'd be told to stop because the coach who's taking the badge wouldn't agree with how you're doing things. Probably never kicked the ball in his life himself.
Yeah, these
guys are trying to judge you.
Yeah, I think there is a bit of there's education side of it is good for me. Like, I understand, I know. Look, everyone's got a difference of opinion, and I get what you're saying. Like you're being judged by someone who might have a different opinion. It's probably same as being a footballer. You're judged in the 11 by a manager. But I do see a value in them. I would have thought before I went in doing the badges, I would have been like, not for me. No way, can't be doing that. Who exactly, who's going to be giving me badges? Fellas who don't know the game or whatever. But when I went down there and did them, I had a totally different opinion coming out of it. I thought the education was excellent from it. What you had learned, the structure around it. I mean, we obviously know the game being footballers, but there's a lot more to it and a different side, and probably what's expected now as a coach as well is what you're learning down there. But I think it's geared better towards professional footballers. I think if you were someone coming off the street and you were learning everything that they have on, that you'd be probably at a disadvantage in a way, because it's probably not, and they don't have the time, to be fair. They don't have the time, like that course to probably, the B license is over 3 weeks. So it's a week of learning. That's probably not enough for someone who hasn't been involved in the game. And they'll be able to hit the points because all you have is assignments, and then you have to put on a coaching session that's structured in a certain way, but that's across Europe and that's UEFA target. So it's like, once you know it, then, and you know how to kind of coach it, because there's videos on YouTube and constantly, all right, stop here now, and where are you going here? And most people know the structure and formation. But I think education-wise, people should do it. But I do think they need to kind of get across, you're going back into your club now. You probably you don't coach like this, or as you said, a bit more kind of education-wise that way.
Why don't you go into the clubs and coach them from Kickstart 1 right through, and give them a time bracket within their clubs of training all the coaches the same way, because when a coach goes to do his badges, Coach A and Coach B are doing the same badge. And Coach A and Coach B are going to come out with that with different opinions and go back to the same club and coach the kids differently. When all the kids should be learning singing off the one hymn sheet. One club should have a Bible Now, I'm not saying that it should be robotic in what they coach, but it should be all on the lines of, like I've done a lot of work with a fella called John Cartwright, Roger Whittleston, level 1, level 2, Premier Skills it was called, and it's all geared around street football. And level 1 runs into level 2, level 2 runs into level 3. I didn't find that with the UEFA and the FIFA. It was all just different topics of defending and formations and that type of stuff. And then all of a sudden, then you start introducing it. This Dutch fella start introducing small stuff in the games, which is brilliant. I don't believe that young kids should be playing on a big pitch to under 15s. I think it should be all kept small. I think a lot of kids up to under 11s, under 12s shouldn't be playing competitive football. I think you should have in-house coaches coaching them against each other, bringing clubs over from England or League of Ireland clubs in at different age groups and playing them once a week, maybe twice a week, maybe 3 times. All depends. Put a structure together and get it set up. And then I guarantee you, if a club sets up an academy in that type of way, or the first club to do that, they'll produce more footballers. They'll produce more players going to England. Like, scouts don't come to Ireland that much anymore. They don't come to Ireland anymore. Years ago, you couldn't get scouts out of this country because the talent was here was second to none. But it was all street football. That's dried up. Now you've got coaches. You've seen the true coaches coaching the kids, and they're not being coached the right way. It's as simple as that. You learn more in the streets. If you give 10 kids, 7-year-olds, a football and tell them, hit that pole and hit that pole, you'll see more from those kids in that street than you would an 11-a-side game or a 9-a-side game on a schoolboy pitch.
Yeah, no, definitely. Looked at street football and definitely small sided games. You probably would have seen the difference in yourself as a player when you were at Celtic with Liam Brady, when he did bring in the small sided games. You just get so sharp from them.
I never seen a pop-up goal in my life till I met Liam Brady. The little pop-up goals.
Yeah.
That was 27 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just different managers, different things. Roddy was a big motivator. He was big heart. He get you in the headlock and burst you. Liam Brady was more hands-on on the training ground, explaining and starting small sort games and little shooting games and all different things got to do with pace. No, a lot of managers think you need a lot of endurance, but I think you need a lot of, bursts of injection over 5, 10, 15, 20 yards. Of course, you need to be fit. That's what your pre-season is for. That sets you up on a platform to be fit. But training sessions should be all short and sharp, dropping the shoulder, over small hurdles, in and out, jumping on the ground, how quick can you get back up off the ground after a tackle, little things like that. But that all needs to be done in sections. But when it's being done in sections, it all has to be put into how the game is played and how you want to play the game.
Yeah,
that's my opinion.
No, good opinions, and I think that is the kind of trouble, is that like there's so many opinions in football that like even the FAI there know it's hard to get a structure of what's right, because like they start the under 13s, under 15s, under 17s, 19s with the League of Ireland clubs, probably trying to get as many decent players together with the clubs.
Right, so what happens to all the schoolboy clubs now, with all these League of Ireland clubs starting up? Where are the kids going to go? Yeah. You're going to take the heart out of the core of where we all come from, which is schoolboy football. Now it's gone. You're being competitive at a League of Ireland level at under 12s and 13s. It's wrong.
Yeah. I think they're trying to follow maybe kind of European model. I think it's the Dutch model, is it, they were following, but I'm not too sure about that. But for me, I'm thinking, right, Germany or Holland or Italy or whatever they're following there, you're talking big clubs, big money. They have money to pump into academies, facilities. I just don't think we have that here yet. No, I see they're kind of trying to maybe feed from the bottom to the top.
No, I think. Yeah, but I just think, there's more money in schoolboy football teams than there is in League of Ireland. You know that, don't you?
Yeah.
The fees, the registration fees, all sorts of stuff. That's where the money. This is where the money is being injected. Like, a lot of people think, oh, it's great they're doing schoolboy football. Well, schoolboy football is where they're going to generate the money.
Yeah.
The lottos and good luck to them. Good luck to them. But I just think what they're doing is taking. And I can see the reason why they're trying to do it is because, I'll tell you why they're trying to do it, is because They want to get the best young players to play for the club, a semi-professional club, as quick as they can. That if someone does come in at 16, and then they're going to sell them, and the League of Ireland clubs will reap the money. So, you know, the Home Farms, the Cherry Orchards, the Bluebells, the Cove Ramblers, whoever, all these players went away from won't get any of the money. It goes straight to League of Ireland. So now the
Yeah.
schoolboy football is dead in the water. You know,
Yeah, like
Bluebell probably got, I think he got 20. Then when I made me first team appearance, they got another 20 grand. So that's for schoolboy football. That's massive.
that to me
You know,
then is
that's
thinking
nets.
that the whole structure needs to be looked at. Like if you're talking, like the FAI is probably run the football in the country. Like you look at the GA and there's no club goes like, on needing any facilities or, gear around the country. Like they're all producing decent players at times. That's same as football here. There's decent players being produced all the time. Like, but is there some kind of, something that feeds down, or some kind of structure from a football association that kind of comes down and says like, right, we're taking this decision. But again, like if he comes from a schoolboy club, there's something that goes back to them or something, or I don't know, to be honest. I'd say you'd have to get a big room of people and sit down and try and hash it out.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Like, because he's come from Bluebell now to Shamrock Rovers. If he sold, the Bluebell got anything for a 15-year-old that signed for Rovers, where they feel that they probably made him a better player in the 3 years that he was there than he was for the 5 years at Bluebell. So where do you find the balance on who gets what and what gets what?
Is that the case now? So is it? Is it this?
How other way are you going to do it? Unless that club breaks his contract for Bluebell or Cherry Orchard and signs for Shamrock Rovers. If he signs for Shamrock Rovers after breaking away from Bluebell, Shamrock Rovers just get the money for that kid. But why don't we put a thing in it? So, okay, that's fine. But if little Johnny signs at 11 from Bluebell, he's good enough to go to Shamrock Rovers. Why? Because they see potential. So if he does go away and you get X, Y, and Z, why can't we have a few bob?
Yeah. No, definitely. Yeah,
No.
like you do have to kind of do it the right way. And the thing is, and this is what I'm saying about like, bringing in structures and stuff. It doesn't work for everyone, and there's always issues, and that's something kind of I'm trying to talk about coaching and talking to people like yourself. There now is that, there's people kind of that have good ideas and like have input into
Shut
it, and
down.
yeah.
Shut down. They're shut down. Because
Yeah.
they're paying the RDOs and all these people 30 and 40 grand with cars to go around, and I don't know. I just don't get it. I don't get it. Something needs to be done.
Anyway, just talking about the coaching again, like I suppose now you kind of have this expect the coach to probably have a kind of philosophy, and you're probably maybe overcoached, like the street football you're talking about. Is that kind of getting out of identity of players, or if you go to a training session now, it's more kind of drill based, whereas before it
Well,
was.
I'll ask you this. I'll ask you a quick question. A young lad, 11 years of age, 4 foot tall. They're putting him into a big goal. How do you know he's going to be a goalkeeper when he's 15? Why isn't he out doing all the little grids, out right foot, left foot, turning right, turning left, pass right, pass left, all that sort of stuff? Why are keepers taken to the side to do goalkeeping stuff? Because goalkeepers need to play. A goalkeeper in today's game is like a centre half, where he can use his hands.
Yeah.
There's loads of different things. But look, come here. I'm not going to change it. You're not going to change it. And I just say, let them get on with it.
Well, you can try make a difference. You can get out there coaching there now, and put your styles and your philosophies across, and get as many badges as you can. Get into a club. We've all got to do that, and we're all chasing our dream at some stage. Would you like to coach professionally if you were to go into something now, or would you like to work with an association or something, or?
Yeah, I'd like to be able to sit and voice my opinion, but I'd also like to put it into practical, not just theory.
Yeah.
And show people. But I've got a son that I coached my own son, Curtis. He played for Norwich, he played for Hibs, he made his debut against Celtic, he played for Ross County. played for Pats and 3 league titles at Dundalk, and I coached him the same way on the street where I learned. And then I got my grandson now, who's only 3, so he's the next one I need to work on.
Excuse me, make sure and sign him up early before one of the League of Ireland clubs get him sold. Make a few quid out of him.
Listen, don't you worry about it. Grandad will have a cut.
No, thanks for that, Paul. That was excellent.
No problem.
And, if anyone has any questions out there, I've answered a good few questions there now that came in already by email and stuff, and Paul was very good to answer it. And look through his Celtic goals anyway, because they were outstanding. But no, fair play for that, and as I said, some excellent advice, and we'll get the next guest on. Thanks very much, everyone.
And